So just don't even worry about it. Just look up here. Okay? Now this will be something that like my friends in L2 would like, or L1. It's called math attack.
Oh.
Ooh, what do you think's up with that?
Can we write it down?
Numbers getting army uniforms and getting tanks and
can we do it down?
No, because it's going to be short game, okay?
They shoot at everyone.
Look. Ooh. Does she look excited or scared?
Scared.
That's how I feel about math.
Yeah, but she goes scared.
I'm glad.
I love reading, but you don't like
One
it.
time I got scared
Yeah?
because there's a huge giant spider.
Ooh.
There was a huge spider that killed with a pointy sword.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to ask Auntie Brooke about that. Okay, let's see what this girl's name is. It was Monday at school, and our teacher, Miss Glass, announced, now it's time for arithmetic class. That's another name for
I know that.
Can somebody tell me what 7 times 10? She was looking at me, and she said it again. 70. Hard.
Those are
Excellent.
This time, so you count,
Yeah.
skip count by 10.
Skip count by tens. Mom's sorry now. I was thinking so hard, all my circuits were loaded. And all of a sudden, my brain just exploded. And numbers flew out of my head by the score. They stuck to the ceiling, they bounced off the floor. Kids in the classroom dived under their chairs. Some pushed through the hall and flew downstairs. Enough, yelled Miss Glass. You're disrupting the class. She ducked as more numbers went whizzing on past. The next thing I knew, I was sent to the nurse. Before, said Miss Glass, matters get any worse. Do you think that could really happen, numbers flying out of your head? No. The nurse checked my throat and then peered in my ear. Oh my, she exclaimed, now what have we here? I'm afraid it's a case of arithmetic strain. One that no doubt has scrambled your brain. So how did this happen exactly and when? I told her it happened on 7 times 10. But as soon as I said it, it started again. Numbers flew out of my head as before. Gangway, cried the nurse. That means watch out. As she clashed through the door. But like a volcano that's blowing its top, I kept spewing numbers that just wouldn't stop. They swept through the school, both the front and the back, and the principal shouted, "We're under attack!" Attack of the map. At Precinct 11, Sergeant O'Toole, what do you think he is? Police officer, yeah. Was dispatching a unit to check on the school. Report of math attack, 2nd and Main. They say there's a kid with a scrambled up brain. The cruiser arrived and it screeched to a halt. Young Officer Green and his partner Perrault. They asked, how did this happen exactly and when? And I told them it happened on 7 times 10. But as soon as I said it, it started again. Numbers swarmed out just like bees from their hives. Yow! Yelled the cops, and they ran for their lives. Everywhere numbers were tumbling down on the schoolyard and houses and streets of the town. They halted the traffic, and horns started blaring. Dogs began barking, and townsfolk stood still.
Pages in the way.
What?
Pages in the way.
Okay. It's okay, Parker. You're taller than she is, okay? I think you're fine. Suddenly, telephones jingled and jingled, and numbers or overhead wires got tangled. A man in a phone booth who tried calling home was connected instead to a dog sled in Nome. That's in Alaska. It's a long ways away. To add to the racket, the clock in the tower was crazily bong-bonging every which hour. 4 6s and 7s had climbed from its base to join the 12 numbers that circled the face. Meanwhile, as Millie, the grocery store clerk, was ringing an order for old Mrs. Burke, hundreds of numbers piled high in a cart leaped onto the shelves, giving Millie a start. And they changed prices on jellies and jams and pickles and peppers and yogurt and yams. Even the sticker on Mrs. Burke's bread was now reading $10 trillion instead. Oh, that would be, oh, I couldn't afford that. Back at the school, the Channel 8 News arrived with their TV equipment and crews. "We're live at the school," the anchorman said. The camera zoomed in for a shot of my head. "How did this happen?" he asked me. "And when?" And I told him it happened at 7 times 10. But as soon as I said it, it started again. Numbers flew out of my head, helter-skelter. The anchorman and cameraman scrambled for shelter. That very moment, the National Guard completely surrounded the school and the yard. And whirlybird chopper flew low overhead, and I groaned and I wished that I'd stayed home in bed. "Oh, it's hopeless," I muttered. "I'll never remember the 7 times table I learned in September." That's when I heard it, a strange whirring sound. As gears in my head started spinning around, my brain was computing. I tried once again to remember the answer to 7 times 10. What's going to happen? "Eureka, I've got it, I know it," I said, just as the answer shot out of my head. Then, like a rocket on the 4th of July, a towering 70 lit up the sky. Why do you think it would be 70?
Because it's time.
Exactly.
That's a 701.
This is an exclamation point part. 3 cheers, yelled the crowd. "At last," Miss Glass sighed. "And 4, said the cops. My classmates high-fived. I was ready the next day at school when Miss Glass announced, "Now it's time for arithmetic class." Hooray, bring it on, I thought, eager to start. Certain I knew the times tables by heart. My brain was unscrambled and working just fine until Miss Glass said, "What's 11 times 9?
Oh, that's
Pardon?
91.
Close. It's
It's
99. So
92.
99, that's a
I
lot.
just know 9 times tables up to 9.
How about 41,012?
Close. Pretty close. 99 is all right.
99.
Brady's right.
99.